Hi everyone, this is just a little video all about the work you did yesterday. Thank you very much to those that handed in the answers to the slide 9, which asked you to analyse some imagery in the story. So I'm going to go over a little bit of feedback, because the analysis that you were doing is actually a vital part of the whole course, not just textual analysis. The analysis that we do is something that you have to be skilled at for close reading, in textual analysis, and for your Macbeth essays as well. So when you quote something from Macbeth and then you do your second E, point evidence, that's the quote, and then explain, that explanation, that's the analysis. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, about how to give detailed analysis, which is the key to getting your A's in English. So first of all, just a couple of basics. You analyse lots of things in literature and in articles, newspaper articles. You analyse word choice, you analyse structure, tone, lots and lots of things. I'm just going to focus today on analysis of imagery. I might do another little video about analysis of words, etc. as well. But because you were focused on imagery yesterday in slide 9, when you were talking about the scarab beetles and the bleeding of the beetles, the teacher's red ink all around her work, we'll start off with, what is imagery? Well, imagery is figurative language. So if I was to say to you that I was watching a film last night and I was glued to my seat. Now, I wasn't literally glued to my seat. Somebody hadn't taken a Pritt stick and covered the chair with it, and I wasn't stuck to it. Probably more likely some like Gorilla Glue, but anyway, that I'm being figurative, I'm being metaphorical. I just mean I couldn't move, I was so engrossed. So imagery is one of three things. It is simile, it is metaphor, it is personification. And here are examples of all those three things, just to remind you. A simile, you're using like as. So if I say his smile was like a beacon of hope, now that's a simile. If I was to change it slightly and say his smile a beacon of hope in a cruel world, then that's a metaphor. And the little bit at the end you might have spotted, a cruel world, is personification, where we give human characteristics to something that isn't alive. So the trees might dance in the wind. The trees aren't dancing, but we're giving them that characteristic. And that is imagery, and that's what we're going to be analysing today. And that's what you were analysing yesterday with the beetles. Now, the key to good analysis is to, first of all, to use just as and so. Just as, so. So if I take a very simple simile, like the room is as hot as an oven, I take the image, which is the oven. The oven is the image. There's no oven in the room. You're just saying it's like an oven. So you take the image and you explain it literally. What is an oven? So just as an oven is a hot box in which we cook food. So now I'm about to explain it metaphorically, figuratively. I'm about to explain the image and how it describes the room. So the room felt suffocating. It felt like it was so hot that we could be cooked alive. Just as, literally, what is the image? So how does it pertain to the room? Now, the key to in-depth analysis, detailed analysis, A-grade analysis, is to double dip. We dip into the image, so we dipped into the oven imagery there, and we pulled out the idea of it being suffocating. But let's take an image from the story. The burling big black spiders, which is how she reads. It's what she sees when she reads. So if we were to ask, well, how does the writer use imagery here to explain how the narrator feels? Just as black spider is an insect with lots of legs, so I'm explaining it literally. So the writing on the page didn't make any sense to her, just looked like shapes. So there you go, there's a mark. But what if I was to double dip? And I think one or two people did actually do this yesterday in their answers. Also, the idea of the letters looking like spiders adds or conveys the idea of writing and reading being something that she fears, as spiders are often something that people are afraid of. double dip. You've explained the simile in detail, in depth. Okay, now try these 2 examples from the same story, and these are all these quotations that we've picked out are all ones that we can use in our revision for things like the 8-mark question. And if you've forgotten how to answer that, that's okay, because once we remind you, you'll remember. So the first quotation is one where she's describing what friendships are like when you're at school, and she describes them as they shuffle around like one of the progressive barn dances. So in other words, if you think it's like a Scottish dance, where you start off with one partner and then you move on to another one and another one, so on in a pattern. And then the second one is about the teacher and the speed at which he is speaking and knowing, well, only some people can keep up. And there's well, you tell me what it is. Is it simile, metaphor, or personification? But have a look at these 2. Jot down your answers and send them to me sometime this week. It doesn't have to be today. Okay, thank you.